Welcome to Talk with Kristen with an E, the podcast that's like therapy, but cheaper and way more fun. I'm Kristen, host, storyteller, and occasional overthinker. From making friends to surviving burnout, reminiscing on our younger days, and learning how to adult, we'll chat about all life's lessons and laugh in between. So grab your drink, get comfy, and let's talk it out. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's funny that I'm saying welcome back to you because really this is a welcome back for me. Some of you may have forgot who I am, or maybe there's some new listeners who really don't have any idea who I am. So we'll do a little catch up. It'll feel like we never even left. Where did we leave off? I told you guys at the end of June I was going to take a pause and playback time, and I had all these things I was going to do to relax, refresh, rest, all of that. And we will get into that. But I definitely was gone a wee bit longer than I planned. So we'll talk about that too. So, yeah, I said that I was going to take off July and I would come back in August. I had intentions to do that, but honestly, the summer was going so great and I was doing so many other things that I kept putting off podcast stuff because I was living my best life. More days went past, more weeks went past, and I was like, I've got to get back to podcasting. I really did want to, but it was like, when you stop doing something and then the longer you go not doing it, the harder it is to start it. And then there was guilt. I knew I had people waiting for it and people were asking about it. And I'm like, I really need to do it. But it was like I was almost immobilized. That's a pretty good word for it. Like I just felt stuck, like I wasn't ready. I had all these ideas. I have lots of topics that I want to cover. And we will. But I really thought in the off season, I was going to do more planning. I was going to come up with outlines and schedules, and I was going to line up my guests, and I was going to be so prepared and ready to come back for season 2. Oh, spoiler alert, that didn't happen. I do have ideas and I have a little notebook with lists, and I do have some guests that have said yes. I just haven't put all the work into it, but we are going to. And here's the thing. Everything starts with one step. And this episode is our one step into season 2. And I do want to tell you about season 2. But first, let's do a little catch up about what I've been doing while I've been gone. While it was a very restful and relaxing time, before recording, I went back to my notes from the season finale episode of season 1, where I kind of laid out all these things I wanted to do over the summer and books I was going to read. And I am here to report to all of you that I think I accomplished nearly everything I said I was going to do. We'll break that down a little bit and then we'll talk about season 2 and really get hyped about it because I promise it is exciting. And I do want to say thank you. I'll probably say this a couple times today, but I do want to thank those of you who have stuck around just absent from social media for the most part. I think I had 2 or 3 posts I put on Instagram the entire time. And one of them was literally, hey guys, I am still alive. So that was just, I felt like I had to put it out there because I wasn't active at all. So yeah, let's take a quick look back at how my summer was. I had talked about really focusing on rest, relaxing, and refreshing. And I talked about how that was going to be, what it looked like to me, and things I was going to do. One of the things I was so excited about was my book club trip. Let me tell you guys. 1, if you don't have a book club, get a book club. 2, if your book club doesn't go on trips, encourage them to go on trips or find a better book club. You may recall I was a little nervous about it because I had never met any of the girls in real life. It was me on a solo road trip, almost 5 hours away, to go to a house and spend a weekend with people I'd never met before. It was the most amazing weekend. We went to a little town in Indiana and stayed in a cabin. We had a campfire the first night and made hot dogs and s'mores and just talked and got to know each other on a different level than what we had before. And it was so fun. We ended up playing games. There was a mouse. That was a whole situation in itself. We did get the mouse out. All was well. The next day, we went into town and visited the little shops, several different coffee places, and kind of touristy things. Had the best cinnamon roll ever. I actually did post a reel for the trip. So if you go back to my Instagram, you can watch that and kind of get an idea of how the trip was. Went to a little bookstore. We went to this body product store. It reminded me of Lush, and I got a lip balm called Marshmallow Fluff. You may recall when I talked about my favorite products, there was this other lip balm that I'm obsessed with, which I still am. It's the one on my nightstand. But this Marshmallow Fluff one, years ago when I was in high school, which according to my son was like back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I had a Lip Smackers addiction. Lip Smackers is the Bonnie Bell lip balm, lip gloss, whatever. I was addicted, which apparently if you actually look at it, you can't physically be addicted to it, but there is like this mental addiction. I was addicted. But my favorite flavor was called Martian Mallow. And it was like a shimmery white one. It came from one of their cosmic lines or something. And it was my favorite lip balm. I am not even kidding you. This Marshmallow Fluff from this little store in Indiana smells exactly the same. It's like I'm taken back to 1999 or 2000 or something, and it is amazing. Not only the smell, the texture of it, it's just, it's amazing. Maybe you should all go and buy this Marshmallow Fluff lip balm. This is not ad. This is not sponsored. It's literally me just saying how much I love this lip balm. So anyway, that day was great. Next day, we did a hot tub. We read, we sat around and talked, we napped. It was the most relaxing vacation trip I had ever had. And what I think was best about it was that these girls, even though I never met them in real life and we've only talked once every 2 months for when we get together for a book club, it was almost easier because there were no expectations. Like I didn't feel like I had to be somebody else, which if you've been listening to this podcast through season 1, you know I have struggled with people pleasing and trying to be what I think people want me to be. And I don't know if it's because I'm old now and I don't care as much what people think, or if it's because I'd kind of worked through some of that in season 1 and was at a place where I was more comfortable with myself. I just am at a point where I can be myself around people. And it's probably one of the first times I have ever felt that. Even when I go to events with people, I know afterwards it's always that, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, what did they think? Oh, why did I do that? I don't think I ever felt that on this trip. This is who I am. They can like me or not. I don't care. I'm not pretending. I'm not being fake. I'm not squashing who I am to try to fit in a mold that probably isn't even true because I've made it up in my head. That was such a growth moment for me over the summer, just like the best ever. So the trip was amazing. We all had such a great time that we agreed to do it again next summer, and I'm going to be planning it. So that'll be fun. I was so excited when I got back. I already started looking at locations, checking different areas, and focusing on budget and distance. It took some time for me not coming back to podcasts because I was like in my planning mode for other things. Anyway, that was great. I had also said that over the summer, my son and I were going to go to some concerts, and we did. We went to a local band. Well, not local to us, but they come up every year and we go see them, and that was great. But the big event was going to see AJR. And oh my gosh, we had watched their show from last year online, and it was great. But being there in real life, it was amazing. It really was for my son because it's one of his favorite bands, and I bought tickets on his birthday in March for us to go. We had to wait until the middle of summer to go to it. Totally worth it. Seeing their performance, they are performers. They aren't just musicians. The whole thing was a performance. The last song, they had a marching band come in. If you get a chance, go onto YouTube. People have shown clips from the show. You can see parts of it. It was just amazing. And if you ever get the opportunity to see AJR, take it. They are amazing. It was wonderful. Their new album actually comes out at the end of this week. So on September 5th, you can listen to new AJR music. We are very excited about that. My son and I had a lot of pool days. It was an extremely hot summer, miserably hot. So we spent a lot of time at the pool, which was wonderful. We have a community pool, hanging out with our friends, like moms will all hang out. He'll hang out with his friends. It's a really nice time. Sometimes we'll go by ourselves and, throw a ball around or just talk. Like, it's just a really nice time. So we got a lot of pool days in. I had provided a list of books that I wanted to read over the summer, and I am happy to report I read all of them. The books that I had listed were, let me check my notes. I had said I was going to be reading Four Winds, Atmosphere, Sounds Like Love, The Girls We Sent Away, and I did read all of those. Four Winds was just as good as I remember. It is still a 5-star book for me. Kristen Hanna, amazing. If you don't know much about the Dust Bowl, it's totally worth reading to explain the Dust Bowl, and just an all-around amazing book. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That book just came out this year. So good. It was so good. It was actually on sale on Amazon last week. I don't know if it still is, but even if it's not on sale, it's totally worth reading. I posted it on my Bookstagram, one of the only posts I posted on Bookstagram. We'll come back to that in a minute. But I had posted about it and said, if you love Taylor Jenkins Reid, if you love NASA, if you love the 80s, if you love crying a little bit, then you will want to read this book. It was so good. I did finally get to read Sounds Like Love. I went to meet Ashley Poston earlier this year and got a signed copy of the book. She signed almost all my books of hers that I had. Remember, 7 Year Slip, one of my favorite all-time books. Sounds Like Love was an extremely cute story. It still didn't quite make it to 7 Year Slip, but it was very enjoyable. Just a fun, light read. The Girls We Sent Away was a good book, too. I had listened to that one, and that was for my Book Girls Guide, Reading Through the Decades. That was my book for the 1960s. Then, for my book set in the 1970s, I read The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. If I thought Four Winds was amazing, this book was like even more amazing. Now, what I have found, and I think I could probably do a whole episode on this topic sometime, I will probably set up a poll and get you guys to weigh in on this. There are a lot of Kristen Hanna fans, but I think all Kristen Hanna fans fall into one camp. What I mean by that is, while we all love her books, people will pick one of her books and it's their favorite, and that's the one they stick with all the time. Like, if you remember Twilight, Team Jacob, Team Edward, things like that, even Laguna Beach, right? Like your Team Kristen or Team Elsie. I feel like that's how Kristen Hanna books are, and your team The Nightingale or your team The Women or whatever, because I feel like so many people are like, oh, The Nightingale is my favorite Kristen Hanna book. Listen, people, The Nightingale is a very good book. I enjoyed it. It was a lovely read. The Great Alone, though, oh my gosh, rips your heart out, pieces it back together, cracks it again. I was literally bawling in bed when I was finishing that book. And my husband looked at me and he's like, what is wrong with you? And I said, it's just this book. He's like, it's just a book. And I'm like, you don't understand. He's like, they're not real people. And I'm like, but she writes like they are. And like, I am just a blubbering mess because that book was so beautiful. All right, let me know. Send me a message. Drop it in the comments. What team are you on when it comes to Kristen Hanna books? I'm really curious. And I will make a poll of it. We will make a whole episode of it at some point, because I firmly believe this, that people are on a team or a camp in Kristen Hanna books. So, other ways that I rested, relaxed, refreshed. I caught up on some Netflix shows, got into Sullivan's Crossing. oh my gosh, how did I not know about this show before? I think I did hear something about it when it was coming out because it had talked about if you like Virgin River, if you like Gilmore Girls, there's this perfect show for you. Hey, guess what? I do love Virgin River. I do love Gilmore Girls, and Sullivan's Crossing was the exact perfect show I needed. I went through season 1, season 2. I know season 3 is out there, and I have watched the first 2 or 3 episodes. I'm trying to not rush through it because once it's over, then it's over. I don't know if there's going to be a season 4 or not. At least if I don't watch them all, I will still have some to watch. So I watched that. I feel like I watched something else. There were a few other little shows I watched. Oh, I got really big onto YouTube of watching Ryan Trahan's channel. So Ryan and his wife Haley, who has a book coming out next year called Just Friends. I think it'll be amazing. I've already pre-ordered it, so clearly I'm all in. Over the summer, they did a 50 states in 50 days fundraiser for St. Jude. They had to stay in an Airbnb in a different state every day and ranked them to find out which one was the best Airbnb in the nation. It was so fun to see them trying new things, spending time together as a couple, seeing the Airbnbs. It was so wholesome. So my son and I would watch that together. And that was just a fun thing we did too. So overall, it was amazing. We had a family vacation at the end of the summer, which was kind of unplanned. It was one of those, oh my gosh, you're going back to school. We should totally do something before you have to go back to school. So we went out of town to one of our favorite places and had just a little, 4 or 5 days away, just a nice time to reconnect as a family and have one last hoorah before we all got back to regular life and schedules. Overall, it's a fabulous, fabulous summer. So what did I not do that I said I was going to do? Well, I'd said I was going to do a digital detox and get better about not being on my phone all the time. And I have gotten better. I will say there are some days where I'm not on it at all and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even check my Facebook today. And there's other days where after work, I'm just kind of empty and I just find myself, getting into the doom scrolling. So it is something I am still working on. I have made improvements to it, but I did not unplug as much as I thought I was going to. So we're still working on that. And the other thing, funny enough, is I'd said that I was going to get better with my Bookstagram and go back to posting reviews and trying to be more active over there. That didn't happen either. And it's funny because I could say, oh, well, because I'm trying to be off social media more, so I wasn't posting as much there. And that is kind of it. And kind of was just like, what's the point? I mean, honestly, it's good for me to do my book reviews there because I find sometimes I'll go to my Goodreads and I'll see a book and I'll give it 3 or 4 stars. And I'm like, what was it even about? What did I like about it? And when I was doing full reviews on my Bookstagram, then I could go back and say, oh, that's right. That's what I liked about it. Or that's what I didn't like about it. That part was nice. But at the same time, I'm like, it is so much work. And I just kind of lost interest in it. Not in the community. I still went to several author events. I still keep up with the Missouri Book Girls chat. There's still people that I'm following and liking their stuff. But I feel like when I go on social media now, it's for more of a purpose. I mean, the purpose is watching corporate memes and reels and sharing things with my friends that make us laugh. That's kind of more what my social media foray is now. Is that the right word? Foray? I don't know. But what I find myself doing now is really going on and just sending reels that are funny to some of my friends. And that's what we do. We communicate in sending reels. There's a couple of my friends that we do that a lot. What's funny is if we send the same one to each other or oh, you sent it to me. I think I sent it to you a couple weeks ago. It's fun. So really that's kind of what I've been using it more for now. But again, being more purposeful with it. Honestly, I don't know that I'll keep my Bookstagram going or not. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having it open, but I don't know how active I'm going to be on it. Honestly, don't know how active I'm going to be on my podcast Instagram either. Probably a little bit more. I think I talked about it at the end of last season too. When I go and post something on social media, I really do stop and think, why am I posting this? what am I posting this for? Who am I posting this for? I have been more purposeful with what I post and share. So I have made some progress in that also. So now that we've had a full recap and caught you up on where I've been and what I've been doing for the past 2+ months, now we'll talk about what you probably really want to know. And it's, so what are we doing for season 2? I am very excited for season 2. I know I didn't get into all the planning that I wanted to, but I still believe it's going to be an amazing, amazing season. So season 1 was kind of introspective, learning about ourselves, dealing with insecurities, challenges, things like that. Season 2 is going to build on that with personal growth, but I also want to focus on burnout, leadership, and people following their passions. You may think, well, Kristen, those sound a little all over the place. They do, but they all line up the same in my brain because these are areas that I'm working on and that I am interested in and that I think are important for others. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, if you're a student, if you're a stay-at-home parent, a corporate person or a boss babe or whatever you are. I feel like personal growth is something we can all work on. Leadership is something I'm passionate about. I got a degree in it, and I see so many examples of good and bad leadership. Leadership is everywhere. It's in the workplace. It's, in your friend group. It's with the sports teams. It's in your community. There's so much leadership everywhere. And I think that being a good leader in whatever environment you're in is something we can all work on. People following their passions is something I am passionate about. And part of it is because I'm what you would call risk adverse. And I prefer stability, security, and I'm not one to take big risks. But throughout the past year, I have encountered people who have just left their job to try something completely different. People who have found something they're passionate about and really go on to do great things with that. I want to share those stories and offer people insights and the courage to follow their passions. I don't know exactly where we're going to go with that, but that's something I really do want to look into. I love talking with people, having guests on, and having people share their stories. So if you are one of those people that has followed your passion or has a leadership story or has thoughts on personal growth, I would love to have you on. You can always reach out to me on email. You can go to the website, Instagram, Facebook page, and you can just go to my Calendly, pick a time, and we'll talk about things, and it'll be amazing. I know Alexis does, and I think Kelly would probably be up for it, is doing another book club too. So we'll be looking at something there. I have a couple of books in mind, but honestly, I don't know that I can get Alexis and Kelly to agree to them because they're nonfiction books. Since we're talking about personal growth and development, I wanted to have something kind of on that brand. We will see where we go from there. The plan right now is to kind of do topic months. So we'll focus on things each month. But honestly, depending on how scheduling works out and who's available when, it may sway a little from this schedule. But we'll be looking at some personal evolution, kind of ways we've changed, looking at that progress we've made from last season. We'll be talking about leadership and identity. We'll talk about ambition, burnout, and boundaries. And then we'll talk about time, growth, and looking ahead. And that should get us through December, where I anticipate we will take another brief pause. I promise it'll be brief that time. I promise. Because it'll be winter, and what else will I have to do but lock myself in my studio where it's warm and just talk, right? So that's the plan. We are finally kicking it off in September. Yay! The plan is to go September through probably early to mid-December and do a little holiday break and then come back again in January, February time. So that's kind of what I am looking at. So I am back. We are back together. It is so good to be talking with you again. I am so excited for season 2 and thankful for those of you who have waited for me to come back. Also excited for new listeners who are going to join in. I encourage you to go back and listen to season 1, whether you're a new or seasoned listener, because there was a lot of good stuff back there. We did touch on burnout and boundaries a little bit in season 1, so probably be good to go back and listen to those episodes before we barge into them all in season 2. There were also some good book episodes. There were some insecurity episodes. There was a lot of good, we had a lot of good guests learning about friendship and friendship stories. Paige and Amber's story was a big one. Taylor's story of recovery is a good one. Like, there were a lot of good episodes in season 1. And I promise you, there's going to be even more good, more better, more amazing episodes coming in season 2. So stay tuned. I'm excited about all of it. All right, talk to you later. Thanks for spending time with me on Talk with Kristen with an E, where it's always cheaper than therapy. If you enjoyed today's chat, don't forget to subscribe. And hey, let's keep these conversations going. You can find me on Instagram at Talk with Kristen with an E. Let me know what's on your mind. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, life is always better when we talk it out.